What do you got going on? Tell me what's new.
What's new or what's new for today? I haven't gotten myself in any more trouble today. So,
That's a good thing, yeah.
the usual. I mean, we doing the charters, doing the retail fishing, hunting equipment. President of Eastern Lake Erie Charter Boat Association, and then got involved with a lot more of the sportsman style stuff. So got on board with the Erie County Sportsman Clubs. I got New York State Conservation Council and a few more things, just trying to make sure we get our sportsman word out there, especially when it comes to our fishing side, especially on Erie. We're lacking the water access and with the wind turbines and all that other stuff. Got to stay active. Just can't sit there and cry about it after. So
right. What's going on with that? I know we talked to Dave Adrian a couple of years ago about that, but any new things going on with the wind turbine issue?
Kind of keeps, every time it gets knocked down, it kind of gets brought back up. There was some outside area people that were trying to come back in and go through the legislators and stuff and try to get some ground with it. And we just keep fighting it. We've got a local senator that basically has put together a bill that he's pushing on it, which would be a moratorium on it to shut down the whole possibilities of putting wind turbines on the lake. Because to me, it's the long game with it, because I just look at, even if it does what they want it to do energy wise, what do we give up because they're going to anchor into the bedrock in the lake, and all that pollutants that have been buried for years, we're going to stir it back up, and that's our fishery, that's our watershed for millions of people with drinking water. So it's just, you got to look at where we end up, not where we.
Right.
Having alternative energy is great, but what do we have to give up to get there?
Right. And then you lose all that place to fish. I mean, that's and place to do your recreation kind of goes out the window with all that stuff being in there as well.
So it's been more about trying to get our sportsman voice out there, because it starts out as joining a club, and then basically the clubs belong to a federation, and the county federation belongs to the New York State Federation, then it goes into, from there up into the Conservation Council. So it's kind of the pyramid, so kind of squeaky wheel gets greased. So you can't sit there and cry over spilled milk. It's too late.
Right. Tell me about the outfit. What's going on with your charter, Dreamcatcher Sport Fishing?
So added the other boat the other year, so I still have the 31 Tierra that you've been out on. I had 22 Vexes, so I can bounce around more with that and do some multi-species, more options on it, and some night bite stuff, and even get into some of the bass and perch and whatever else. And so it gives me the ability to bounce around a little bit, and then it comes to the tournaments, we can be one of the sparkly fast boats out there.
Yeah,
that's been fun. Just multiple things, and doing that side of it. And we have the TV show. We're in our 5th season. We just started airing that, so super active, and I just keep on adding more hats, and I haven't figured out how to wear them all at the same time, but
well, you can wear a few of them at the same time. Tell me about your home port is Dunkirk.
Yes.
People don't know about that. Tell me about fishing out of Dunkirk.
The great thing with Dunkirk is you're kind of on the edge of still having some shallow water structure, and then you can push offshore and get into some of the deep water structure or just open water in general. So we can fish all the way from your bass, smallmouth bass, which we pick up which is funny. I laugh because the bass guys get all worked up about a 5-pound smallmouth. I'm like, we catch them kind of like collateral damage. We're out there trolling, and we get into some brown trout, we get into steelhead, we go after our walleyes, and then we can get into 20 to 30 pound Lakers if we really want to. So I center it out. If you're coming out on a walleye charter, we're going to go after walleyes. If you want to go out and catch some fish, we're going to get your walleye fillets, but we'll have some fun with some of the other fish. And you usually get them worn out with a 20 pound Laker.
Right.
They can work for it.
People want to come out. I mean, everybody likes to go out and catch themselves some tacos. When's the best time to come walleye fishing with you?
Our season has been in that, especially in that area, is we start in June, and pretty much we're pretty consistent all the way till pulling a boat out, which is one of the reasons why having the trailer boat now is the marinas our end starts shutting down. So by October 1st, we're starting to get pushed out. By mid-October, we're done with the big boats, and the marinas are shutting down. But so if you have a trailer boat, you still can still continue on. Our fishing's still great right through that. Beginning of the season, it just depends on the water temperature, as it kind of speeds it up or slows it down. But we're fishing more resident fish, so those fish are there right through it. I mean, in New York, we have the season shuts down during spawn compared to like Ohio and stuff like that. So it protects our local fish, and by the time it kicks on, we're good with that, and we can work right through the whole season. In the area that I'm at with Dunkirk, it's great because, like I said, we have the transition. I can find fish all year long doing the same things. And I have the ability with having a nice marina. I've got fuel at the marina. I've got a fish cleaning station there. We've got local hotels. We got local restaurants. So somebody coming in from out of town, it's huge that way. So we've got a lot more people coming. Over the last couple of years, a lot of people coming from the Virginia-wise, West Virginia, and don't really, they come and they'll see Niagara Falls, but we've actually got them where they want to come and catch some walleyes at our end. So that's been kind of a neat little thing there.
Yeah, you got a lot of options there as far as hotels go and restaurants, and that's me. I always like to know what's going on in the ice cream shops. You got some good ice cream shops in town there
right on the boardwalk there. We got ice cream, we got pizza, we got all that stuff. We got a big cherry you can take a picture in.
Right. Yeah. So if somebody wants to go walleye fishing with you, I mean, how do you target these guys?
Just kind of built trade. Social media is, I used to be kind of, social media wasn't me, but it's become a necessary evil. Getting information out there across the board. The biggest thing is our website has been great. We actually set up an interactive calendar, so that's always been a struggle with us, because you call, you track me down, and through Google searches and everything else, I've spent a lot of time trying to make sure I'm up at the top. But then you call and you're like, okay, so what do you got available in June? I give you the dates. What do you got July and everything else? And you're like, okay, let me check with the family, check with the buddies and everything else. And then you call me back and you're like, that June 30th I wanted. And I'm like, I never gave you that date.
Yep.
Well, what about July 13th? Well, that one's booked too. Well, can you get somebody to switch? No, so now with the interactive, they can see what's open and they can actually book it, lock themselves right in. So that's been a huge asset there. So
what's the fishing like? How are you chasing these walleyes down?
So on my end, we're trollers. So lead core is one of my go-tos. Even I've been doing seminars on it. I mean, we're 80% of our fish come off the lead cores, and then we're running gypsy divers, some downriggers, and some inlines right across the board, all that stuff. But day in, day out, it's a lot of work for running longer lines. You've been out there, but the thing is that day in, day out, my lead cores will outproduce anything that's there. So.
Yeah. You love using night crawlers, right? Jim doesn't like night crawlers.
I thought we were fighting for a minute. so my analogy, I was a harness guy for years.
Yeah.
And it was kind of necessary. I still have probably 300 harnesses on the boat. I don't know how many blades. And then it just got to the point where you're buying a flat and you're taking care of them. And I always tell everybody, it's like having a dog on your boat. You got to keep them dry, but you got to keep them moist. You got to feed them. You got to clean them. You got to pull the dead ones out, and you work them into the floor. You're trying to clean it up. Then you go home and you put them in the fridge. You always get a few that escape, and heaven forbid you forget them on the boat, and you go there the next day and they pretty bad. So I've been able to run pretty much stick baits and accomplish the same things without having to worry about having a worm on the boat. So tried some rubber worm style stuff. There's some new stuff out. It does okay, but it's not the thing for me. And what I found out was harnesses, we tend to get what we call junk fish. So your sheephead and your silver bass, white bass, and all that stuff like that. So it kind of keeps us farther away from that stuff. So and we can catch a lot more of the variety with the stick baits, and so
Tell me a little bit about that. What are some kind of tips and tricks, I guess, if you're going to be trolling stick baits, some things that people should think about when they're going to go do that?
In our area, it's one of the things it's kind of the opposite of what most people would think, is because I've got a lot of friends in Michigan and the Ohio end, and they're running deep divers in shallow water. We're running shallow divers in deeper water, but we're also using lead cores and dipsies and downriggers and everything else. So that's what's achieving our depth. And I like running shallow divers because that gives us that tight pattern, more vibration, more flash, and everything else. Because I don't need the big bill to actually get that depth. And to me, if you have a big bill, the energy is used to actually dive.
Mhm.
In a shallow diver, it's that action is going side to side. So it's something we played around with, and it outproduces using the other way. So
Yeah.
that's kind of personal preference. I run everything under the sun. Colors is the last thing that I worry about, but over the last few years, smaller baits have been doing more and more. We've kind of, that whole minnow profile has been huge because our forage base has changed over time, but we've gotten a lot farther into kind of goby style, that little thicker, shorter. So is even as crazy as it sounds, we're running flicker shad number threes and catching 8-pound fish on, tearing hooks apart, but
Hmm.
hooks are easy to change, and so that's one of, don't bypass little baits. That old thing of big baits, big fish. You can get them, and it kind of opens up the avenue to catch some of those mid-sized fish too. So
Yeah. Tell me, how do you find fish out there? I mean, it's a big piece of water. It's deep. You know, you're fishing deep water walleyes. How do you find them?
So like I said, so we have a lot of structures. So I kind of center myself on the outskirts of the structure.
Mm-hmm.
The great thing is, I said, we have inside, we have outside. So it depends on which way winds are blowing and everything else. But we have a lot of underwater currents, so I pay attention to that. You can go on NOAA and you can see like surface currents and subsurface currents. And that, when we get into the open water, we don't have the structure. So actually the currents are what creates the structure, holds the water temps and holds the bait. And so I kind of target those areas, and predominantly it's the same areas almost every single year. I've done a thing where I've laid it over on different things, and they're spend a little time before you actually go fishing instead of leaving the dock and trying to, okay, which way are we going? We going west? We going east? Whatever about that. Van Buren Point in Dunkirk it's you can't miss with going out there. So just stick around in between the shallow and the deep water structure, and if you want to venture out from there, you can find some of the fish moving through that open water there. So it's keep it simple.
Mm-hmm.
So
You said the current is your structure.
yes.
How do you integrate fish hawk into your program?
So pretty much I could care less what I'm doing on the surface pinwheels, any of that stuff, my speed over ground, I could care less about that. I want to know what my lures are doing. I'm religious with it. On the big boat, one downrigger specifically for my fish hawk. I'm running up and down. That's my speed. On the smaller boat, I'm running pretty much it's a portable version of it, and I could care less about any other speeds. My magic number across the board is usually about 2.2. I'll speed up, I'll slow down. I think one of the largest things is I can see where those currents are actually pushing through, so I know that I'm kind of in those areas on top of where it is. And predominantly in our area, you'll hear the guys on the radio saying it's an east troll or whatever it is, and with the fish hawk, it has given me the ability. A lot of times when guys are saying it's an east troll, I can turn around and go west and actually outproduce the bite on the opposite direction. The only way I can do that is because I can accomplish that speed by either speeding up, pushing into them, or whatever else. And when you're pushing into the waves, you're creating more action on your baits.
Yep.
And to me, it's one of those things. If we're doing an east troll, if I have to go all the way down my pole, break everything down, run all the way back up, reset, start trolling again, I'm wasting fishing time.
Yep.
If I can turn around, I can push right back into them and accomplish sometimes even a better bite. That's more of a better thing to me than just running back and forth. It depends on if you can do it with your boat, the setups. I mean, I've transitioned through different boats, taken a aluminum boat with the top up on a windy day to push back into them and turn around into them is a little more struggle than putting a big tier out there. Even my Vexus turns pretty nice on it too. So
you also have a TV show. Tell us about that.
Experience New York Outdoors, and pretty much it's predominantly hunting and fishing. We've gotten into some of the maple syrup and the wine tasting. We've gone to Lake Placid during the winter. Everything is all self-filmed, all produced by ourselves. It's kind of a local. Fox 29 is the big one in this area, so that actually covers into 5 boroughs of Canada, all the way to the Pennsylvania border. We do Rochester, Syracuse. It airs on Hunt Channel later on. We break it up into segments for our YouTube. It's kind of just the love of what we do and getting it out there and working with some people. We've gone out with some of the other charter captains and that kind of group together if we do take a trip outside of the area, it's something reasonable. You're not going to see us doing an Africa trip or something like that.
Yep.
Got a friend of ours. It's a great guide out of Maine, so we go there striper fishing. We 6-hour trip for $400. It's just like, and you'd be there in 5 hours. So something like that is reasonable things. Not, I'm not taking those big dollar trips that canned hunts and everything like that. And we did Florida, which, I mean, everybody's starting to get more of the Florida bug and bite when you get a little older. Who wants to sit in this stuff all the time? And
Right.
we did a tarpon trip that's been airing, and that was a fun thing. That was, as a kid growing up with the Spanish fly, they did a tarpon trip in front of Boca Raton. They were catching tarpon, and the hammerheads came in and were feeding on them. And I told Diane, the wife, about. I'm like, man, that's on my bucket list, a tarpon. And she's like, okay. And I said, if we can really catch it when the sharks are in there,
Yeah.
we did. We caught it, and we had a 15-foot hammerhead come in and take one of the fish that we were releasing right out of the guy's hands.
Wow.
So that's actually on the show and everything.
Holy cow.
That's some neat stuff. That was kind of like, that was a dream that actually came true.
Yeah. So tell me what that's like when you're going to go out and run a charter, or you guys are just going out and doing a little fishing. Now all of a sudden we're taking a camera with us and we're filming something. Tell me about the challenges of doing that.
It's a whole different mindset that you have to get into, because if it doesn't happen in front of the camera, it really doesn't happen at all. One of the things, especially on the hunting side, it's just like, that deer comes through, and now it's to the point where if I can't get it on film, even though it's a gimme shot and it's the deer I've been after all year, I can't shoot them. And so it makes it more challenging. Diane lived it this year, so she did a great job she's been hunting on her own. She got great footage of a deer coming through that's on our shooter list, and it just didn't work out. She got the great footage, but not the hero shot at the end. So fishing wise, it's tough trying to get those angles and a lot of sacrifice. I mean, I'm preaching to the choir with you. It's just like, to try to get that shot is 10 times harder than what you were doing before. But it's a mindset, and if you can pull it off, it's super rewarding.
Yep.
And then even better when somebody comes back to you and they said, hey, I saw that footage and that was impressive. You're like, okay, good job.
Right. The problem is most people don't even realize what it takes to do that. They just see it and they just think, oh, anybody can go do that.
I mean, the half-an-hour TV show is 28 and a half minutes, and to put all that together is, you can have a day out there where you've got extreme footage where you could put 3 shows together, and then there's times where it takes 6 outings to get enough for that one good solid half-hour show. And then you got to put commercials and everything else in it, and it's just like, what did I get myself into?
Right.
But it's the love of what we do. So
you keep bringing up your wife's name, Diane. Doing this, you guys, every time I see you're together. And what's it done for your marriage to have this together?
So it was one of the things when we first got together. She didn't fish at all. Hunting wise, she had an uncle that hunted, so she kind of understood about it. She had tasted deer meat, didn't think it was anything special. So we got together, and she understood that this is what I do and things like that. So she never, this thing we're allowed to go do things. She actually, like, trail camera pictures. We went right through them and everything else, and then they got her out fishing. And now we're to the point, like, the kids growing up, watching all the stuff I was hoping they would get more involved in the hunting, fishing, and they kind of chose their own paths and they're doing their own thing. But as of us as a couple, she's gotten more involved and it's kind of like pushed her into things that she's never done before, which is, to me, it's kind of it's a rewarding thing for me to bring kind of somebody outside of it to give them the idea of even understanding the passion that I have, and she's got it now. And to me, it's kind of nice because she's got the female side of it, and coming from a family that didn't do any of these things. So I was fortunate growing up, like fishing. My grandfather was big into it and everything. My dad really didn't, but he took us fishing. Hunting, nobody hunted in my family, but I got the idea about doing it, and he took the course with me and everything else because he didn't want to say no. I was fortunate to be able, one of his work friends basically had a camp, and I got to get involved with them. So I wasn't raised on it, but I had the ability, and nobody told me no.
Right.
So that was a big thing, and it's so nowadays. Hopefully, we can get more people. So that was when we started doing the show about understanding, like making sure we do things with if we can get some kids out there, we can get couples out there, or whatever else, and get the word out there. It's just I've met the best people in my life through the outdoors
Awesome.
because it's common ground. It doesn't matter if you're a doctor, which we have friends that are doctors, or a garbage man, or whatever it is. We're common ground.
Yeah.
So that's been awesome to me. And she understands it. It's like she's built relationships with people herself, not just as the couple and what we do with either the charters or the businesses or anything else. It's just when it came to the conservation council, they needed somebody as a treasurer. She's bookkeeper, so she volunteered before me to do that stuff. So I'm like, so now she's been bit by the bug.
Yeah.
So
Awesome.
So it makes it easier on my end. Sometimes it makes it a little harder because everything's got to be instead of we can't divide and conquer. It's just everything kind of works together. But it's kind of a neat little journey that we're doing together, and we kind of get the feel of each other. And like I said, right now she's holding the booth down there. There isn't a question that anybody that's going to ask her is going to stump her.
Right.
They don't have to look for me.
Yeah.
So
that's awesome. People want to find out more about what you guys are doing. Where should they go?
the easiest way to do it is we actually put everything under Steel Outdoors Group. So if you actually go to Steel Outdoors Group, you can find it online. And basically that actually gets into our TV show, our charters, our retail side of it. I run a 6-week walleye derby. That's also on there. We run a tournament out of Dunkirk. That's on there. So everything we do is now you can find it under one location. And we run a veterans fishing event. We've been taking out 150 veterans, and we get the DEC involved. They actually clean all the fish for the guys and stuff like that. So that's one of the most rewarding things that we do there. So it's been a wild ride.
Yeah.
Great ride. And
that's what it should be.
So right. it's been fun. It's a lot of work, but it's self-inflicted.
Awesome. Well, Jim, really appreciate you stopping by. Always fun talking to you. Always love having you on the show.
Like I said, you've always
have a great year.
Open invitation.
Well, I might cash that in this year, so be careful.
All right.
All right.